Well, welcome to Lance and Jude's. This is our little 8-acre hobby farm that we have, and we came out here in 1998, and at 1998 well, it was all bush. The bush that you see over there, it was all like that, and there was a very wet gully right in the middle of it. So around 2003 we built a new home out here. It's early in the morning, so we do have quite long shadows, and that's our little pool room for cooking, and that's where we entertain guests and things like that. So all this slashed ground is ours, and we go all the way up to the back. Now you can see up the back, that's Bundy Bears Shed. That's where I film all the tractor repairs and things like that. That's my home away from home. I'm often up there. I spend an awful lot of time up there. And we've just recently had a bit more shelter put up here, extra carports and things like that. So we have dams down the centre. We'll go down the dams and we'll show you that. We're in the middle of a drought at the moment, so there's not much water in them, but we'll take you down for a walk. On the way down to the dam, we have a windmill there. The windmill's not hooked to anything, it's just a piece of yard art, more or less. The neighbours next door over in this paddock here, they run cows. They bring cows in and out of there just as a spelling paddock sort of thing. And all this, where it's all slashed here, right to those fence posts ours. And up behind Bundy Bears Shed, we actually left a strip there as a nature strip, and a bit of a buffer behind the neighbour that we have up the back. Well, going up the back to Bundy Bears Shed, we come across between the two dams. Now you can see down there at the moment that dam's very low, and it's not often they get that low. This dam on this side, look, there's I think probably 3 to 4 foot of water left in there, but normally it's way higher. This is the driest time we can remember for some time. We'll go for a little walk around it, and there's a little pump shed over there. That's where we pump up the back to the high tank, and there's a bowl in the middle here. This was around 14 foot deep, this dam, when we built it, and originally it was just a bit of slop, tea tree swamp through the middle here, and you couldn't even drive through to get up the back, so we put this dam in. But yeah, look, I can't ever remember seeing it this low, and that went in 1998, so this is the lowest since then, so lowest in 20 years. This is just down the other side of the dams. Now we have a little concrete spoon drain comes down through here, and this little spoon drain, quite often for many months of the year, we'll just have water trickling down it, and that's why we went to the effort of putting it in, and just so we had a good solid place to where the water come, it wouldn't erode the bank away here. And we got all the banks all laser leveled out and everything when we did it. Where the foot valve is, or where the foot valve down in the bottom of the dam there, well, I've had to extend that 3 times now just to be able to go and pick water up for our little pump here. So I think we're out far enough now. In the past we've only had to drop it. This clump of reeds there, the foot valve was down around there, and that's lasted us for like 20 years. But this year in the drought we've had to extend it a couple of times, and we have a little Honda firefighter pump in there. We've got it all locked up. Someone come and stole one of our pumps one time, so So now we've got padlocks and big inch square bars through there, but it seems to be life nowadays, doesn't it? And there's the dam. The house is up there, and this is just down the right hand side of the paddock. And down the left, we used to have horses for the kids, but now the kids have moved out and poor old horses have passed on. We every animal that comes here stays here. We don't sell any, and they're buried up the back near the stables. Okay, now we're up the back. Now there's the old stables that we used to have for the horses, and we have a high tank stand here, and I've just finished filling that up from the pump, and you can see it a bit damp around the bottom. Then that tank there, that feeds water back to the house, and when we got the house built, we actually plumbed the house so we can run the toilets on dam water. So it gets pumped from that little pump up to here, and then it goes back up to the house. There's the Kelly dog. Kelly's famous. And there is a black line here, and what we can do with that is we flick a tap there, we can pop that black line into an IBC 1,000 litre pod, and that's how we water some of our gardens, and that's also our firefighting rig. This piece of bush here behind Bundy Bears Shed, there's the shed there. We left that as just a bit of a nature strip. There's a house in through the back there, but it's normally thicker than this, but in the drought, even all the underscrub and all's gone. It's yeah, but I suppose it'll rain. And this is our little firefighting unit, and to keep it running we use it to water the garden as well. But look, I'll be doing a separate video just on that, on how I did it. It's easy to do, and yeah, people may be interested to copy it. We have a loading ramp here. Now at the concrete plants in town, when the trucks come back and they're not completely empty, they have a few moulds made up and they pour these. So anyway, I got on well with the fellas in town there, so they let me have 5 of them, and they sort of lock together. They're a great thing. So that's a loading ramp. Because I play with tractors and things like that, yeah, that gives us a bit of a place, a safe place anyway, where we can unload our gear. Now this is our little orchard up the back here. That's a Brazilian cherry. We'll go for a little bit of a stroll, just show you what's here. There's a lot of gaps. Yeah, we've had a few things die, and what we have here now, we're watering by hand to keep going, but there's a little mulberry. Mulberries lose their leaves in winter, but there's a little stick there with a nice green shoot on the end of it. Then there was an old mulberry tree here, and it just went really ratty on us, and oh look, just started to die, and I didn't know whether to cut it out or not, so all I did was cut it off. So I cut the top off here, and we've been watering it just to see what happens. And at this time of year they lose their leaves a little bit, but you can see the green where we've been hand watering, and all these little shoots coming out the side, so that's interesting. And then coming around here, this tree is a Bowen mango. They're all looking poor. Then we have 2 other mango trees there. Then this is another very old mulberry tree, and look, it battled. We did have irrigation here years ago, but the horses tore it out. So anyway, we have to water everything by hand just at the moment. That's a little mulberry cutting we put in just to try. We put in, it was the same size as that other little one I just showed you. This one just powers along. Why the difference, I don't know. Then, you know, we have little blood oranges and things like that. We planted these last year and over our Christmas break, and we had no idea that we weren't going to get our wet season. So And like there's Washington navels. I can't remember all of the little orange trees we put in, the citrus. And when we come down this side here, I'll try and keep my shadow out of the frame if I can. That's a macadamia nut. This is a macadamia that's been in for a lot of years, and it's really struggled over the time, mainly because of the dry. But in all fairness, with the orchard here, as a younger man, we were building businesses and mechanicking, and we just worked hard, and we neglected the orchard here a little bit. Well, not a little bit, we neglected it a lot. So that one there's a bit spindly. I'm just not sure why. Oh, it'd be good to be a Kelly dog, wouldn't it? Hey, how good's that? She's my constant company. Wherever I go, she's there with me. Tells mum she's working. But yeah, more little citrus. That one's got a little shoot above the graft on it, looking healthy. But we mulch them. We'll mulch them again come spring with more lucerne. That's a milk crate. That's what I sit on when I'm doing the weeding. We're actually having trouble finding a bit of green pick for the chooks, so Judy's often up here grabbing or weeding the green pick out of here for her chickens. But yeah, look, they're doing well. I found a couple of big grubs on that yesterday, so they're gone now. Now this is a pecan tree, dormant at the moment. We're just coming out of our winter in Australia. That's a lovely tree when it's got all its leaves and that, but it's looking good. Once again, we water around the base. We're not getting too worried with any weeding or anything like that. And there's a little mandarin tree here. He seems to be doing particularly well as well. And another Brazilian cherry. So that's just our back orchard here, and it's right up next to the bush, and this is the neighbour's cow paddock. As we're back up at the house now, we have the shipping container there. That's a little air conditioned machine shop I've set up for myself. We have a gen set here just for when the power goes out. Doesn't happen often, but I had it here waiting for the wet season, but no, it didn't happen. And we come up into the back veranda area where the dog beds are and things like that, and here's a garden bed I made last year. I did this one, and we decided as we get older we didn't want the garden beds on the ground so much, as in we find bending over and all that sort of thing gets harder as you get older. But and we thought, well, you know, if we're going to enjoy our gardening, let's make it easy. So we finished that carport. I just did that tin wall earlier, a few months ago, and we'll go for a little walk along the garden here. Now we have a little bit of mesh coming up here, and Judy's got some climbing peas going up there. The tomatoes need a prune, probably today's job. We have some nice parsley there that's flat out getting its head out to have a look. We have some rosemary in there that we use a lot of, but I do need to tidy that up. Right around the edge of the garden we have some shallots, but right around the edge of the garden, all these little fellas here, they're all garlic chives, and it's something we've done with all of our gardens over the years, and we just put a bed of garlic chives in. Then as we walk along, or as we want to come out of the house and do a bit of shopping, well, I suppose we're shopping for herbs, aren't we? So we have them there ready to go. Now Nicole that works with us, she had a few spare cabbage seedlings she gave us, so we threw them in, and this one here will be getting picked this week, I would imagine. It's got a nice firm heart. We thought later on we'd like a few taller things up against this wall, so we've planted I think that's a lemon tree and a couple of bush tucker plants that are nearly overrun at the moment, but it's only temporary. And all the other brassicas here are mainly broccoli and cauliflower. And look, they're doing really well. These tomatoes here, they're just they're self-sown, those little fellas. But these fellas on the corner that I have to tidy up, I bought a little packet of 6 different types of cherry tomatoes, you know, little yellow pears and things like that. So as we're coming out of our winter, they're looking like they're getting ready to go. We have lots of little bunches hiding in and around, and plenty of flowers. So they'll be good. But I've been away a little bit, so I need to come back onto them. And then up the back here, these tomatoes we can see down there, they're all heirloom, just 4 varieties of heirloom I found. So we have a chilli bush here, nice little chilli there, and the watering can's been knocked into the garden. That's what we put a bit of worm cast in the garden. So just to give you a bit of a lay of the land, so you know, that chair, I like sitting, I find it very relaxing to sit in that chair with a hose in my hand and having a bit of a water. But when you sit on, I'll just come in here a little bit. When you sit at the veranda table here and look down, this is what you see from our back veranda. And we have a swing set for the grandkids. They love coming here and we love having them. And so we have this garden here. Now you'll see another garden here. I'll try and stay out of the shadow. Well, when you got little grandkids around, they love a sand pit, don't they? So this will be a garden one day when the grandkids are finished with it. No hurry. Yeah, I keep getting in the frame. It's still early in the morning, so. And that's 3 sleepers high, 3 gardening sleepers. We've used the red sleepers. The red ones are food safe, kids safe, all that sort of thing according to everyone. So not the green creosote type ones. And then we come around the yard here, and Kelly Dog's got a kennel there. Not that she's ever in it very much. And we have grapevines. There's grapevines growing up and through, dragon fruit, and Judy has a couple little passion fruit here next to a chook pen, and look, they're doing nicely. The bananas are really suffering this year. We haven't got the water to keep them going healthy. And if we look up in here, you should be able to see quite a few passion fruit coming on in there. So that's all looking pretty good, and the grapevines are chugging along. I'll have to learn to make wine, I suppose. Now this is a little dwarf lemon, and that tree has been a beauty to us. We mulch underneath and put a bit of worm cast and things like that, but you can come out there almost any time of the year and help yourself to a lemon or two. Great for when you like to drink Coronas. But under the old tank stand we have a bit of a chook pen. Jude's got one chook, that's that one there, and it just toodles around. The others were picking on it, so it gets to roam all day and the others get to watch it roam all day. So that's Judy's main chook pen. That was a cat cage the kids were throwing out that we've put on the outside there. So we have a chook pen. We're actually doing another one of them, a more mobile one. Then there's another little chook pen here. A little rooster and that in there. And he's got his couple of little girls in there with him. And the owl up the top being scary. But yeah, Judy loves her chooks. She's the one that likes the chickens. I don't muck with them at all, really. Hey, they get on alright, but if you open the gate and put them in together, they're fighting, but then they want to talk to each other all day. We have a compost tumbler over there and a bit of old poly pipe. We used to put some shade cloth on this garden. Now, up the other end there we have garlic going along, and at the moment our potato crop seems to be going well. There's some, I can't remember the breed of potatoes now, but there was some white ones up this end which they haven't shot yet, but the other ones are doing nicely. We have a pineapple in there. We have a heap of basil that's just gone to seed, so I'm thinking of baking pesto or something out of that. I have a nice little chilli bush here. This chilli bush has been good. It's getting old now, but yeah, it always has chilies on it. Now in the shadow down there there's turmeric. We're waiting for that to shoot, and down this end there's ginger and just self-sown tomatoes. A mango tree just for the house yard. Then Jude has a little worm farm over here. We're actually working on another worm farm at the moment. We'll do a video on that. It's an old esky that we're turning into a worm farm, so yeah, stay tuned for that. This is one of my current projects, and it's yet another 3 sleeper high garden bed, and I've put some just to look after the weeds between them. We've just put a couple of pavers down here, and at the moment we're just starting to fill it up, and as we fill it up I'll screw another front board on there. It's just I can't get the front end loader in here. I've got to bring everything in with the barrow, but look, it'll be fine. The idea of doing these, the few cars with people going to work, it's early yet, and there'll be a path along the front, a paver path along the front as well, and we're going to probably have half a dozen of these, and we're just going to build them one at a time, as time comes by. We're not going to fill them up with logs or anything like that because it's close to the house and we don't want white ants or anything like that, so we're just going to bring soil and compost and things like that, and worms and all that. But yeah, as we come out, there's our old, bit hard on the eyes, bit hard. There's another watering chair. I like sitting there just watering, and when we have the water, and when we come here and have a look down the centre, even though we've put a lot of cardboard and we've put cardboard and bits of plastic and things like that down between the garden beds, but it's never been really satisfactory in my eyes. So down between the tanks here, the same, and you can see the cardboard and all that we've repurposed down through here. But yeah, look, it's just, I'd rather have the pavers and have something that I can work with like that. So well, we'll see how we go with all that. Well, here we are out in the front paddock at home. We have another small orchard here. We're going to build on this so we can have trees between us and the road, and we have a mulberry there already. There's a mulberry down here that's coming out. We're going to be replacing that one. We have a small mango tree that we're watering that. Look, that doesn't look that flash, but it's got a lovely green tip. As soon as summer or spring comes, we're in the latter half of winter at the moment, so that will take off. I've always had trouble growing avocados, so look, we have one doing nicely at the moment. Once again, we're watering by hand to keep it going. We did have a beauty one time, and for some reason we used to let the horses graze in the orchard, and for some reason old Nipper, our old white horse, we come home and he'd eaten just about every leaf off it, and they said, oh, that makes them sick, but didn't seem to affect old Nipper at all. And over here there's an old macadamia tree that's going to come out. It's shooting under the graft, so we're not going to worry about that too much. We'll We're not going to plant too much more at the moment. It's just too dry. The maintenance in keeping things going's pretty substantial. We have a tap at the front here. That's from that high tank up the back. There's another one along this front fence here, and we'll just come out through the trees. And yeah, we have a bit of a barbecue cook up there now and then. But in along here, this is Judy's, just her house yard garden. Now once again, a few sleepers, and we had to do that to get a nice flat pad for the house. And but look, that's been there since 2004, I believe, this one. But yeah, it's looking a bit spindly in here at the moment. We don't spend a lot of time watering, and we just haven't got the water at present. But in the backyard there near the veggie gardens, we have 2 taps there as well, and those taps there, they come from the dam, you know, from the high tank. So the high tank up the back, that looks after all of our toilet water and any hoses for around the house. I also put a lawn locker in recently on a concrete slab, just for the garden stuff. I was getting a bit spread out, so we have a proper place now. Then I had an old steel rack that was no longer being used, so I've made a bench there for Judy for potting plants and things like that. We may actually, in summer, it gets to 35-40 degrees here, so in summer we're actually talking about coming in off the top there and putting a shade cloth roof over there just to shade anything she has there. She's not using it at present. Yeah, she just hasn't got much to do with it there, but she does have some rosemary and a few things like that round the back. That's another tank. That's a 3,000 gallon tank, and she has a few little pet plants over here. So with the water for the house, we have 3,000 gallons that comes off the pool room and off the carport. Then if we zoom out over here, we have 2 5,000 gallon tanks on the house, and look, that's plenty. By the time we have the 2 5,000 gallons there and 3,000 gallons here, even when the kids were home, look, when the kids were home, we bought water once, I believe, like in 20 years, and well, 2003 we moved in. So look, we do all right with it. With just Judy and myself here, we have plenty. So looks like I got some work to do.